One of our favorite sponsors is back with us, Sunset Lake CBD.
Yeah.
If you're looking for CBD that actually does what CBD is supposed to do, look no further than our friends over at Sunset Lake.
Let me break it down.
Break it down, Mel.
They're sustainably farmed, meaning they avoid pesticides and use sustainable farming practices to preserve the land for future generations. 1. 2, farm to table. They ship the CBD products straight from their door in Vermont directly to your door wherever you're at.
Now that's cool.
And third party tested. They test everything with a third party to ensure quality, dosage, and safety.
You got to go over and check out sunsetlakecbd.com. They have so many products. Break it down for them, Apple.
Well, they've got some new stuff going on. Like they always had pre-rolls, but now they got really cool packaging for it. And you can get CBD pre-roll flights of all their flavors. You can get the heavy hitter flight that also throws in some of their Keef blunts. They have a new CBD recovery body lotion.
I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other?
The other one with arnica.
The extra strength muscle rub, 3,000 milligram with 5% lidocaine.
So look,
Oh, yeah,
if you're
lidocaine.
sore, this is the stuff you want to rub on your body to make those aches and pains go away. They even have CBD infused coffee, so you can have coffee without the little jitter that you get from caffeine, and you have it in the morning and you start your day off right. Your body feels lubricated. You're going to sleep good.
Yeah, and also they have, if you kind of forget to reorder, they've got subscriptions.
And they're giving the No Simple Road family 20% off.
20% off.
Put
with
in the promo code NSR20 when you're checking out at sunsetlakecbd.com. You're going to get 20% off your entire order.
NSR 20.
And don't forget those cute little gummy bears.
That's right. sunsetlakecbd.com, one of our favorite sponsors, is back.
Hey everyone, Chris Pandolfi from the infamous String Dusters here to let you know that my podcast, Inside the Musician's Brain, is back on the airwaves for Season 4, which means it's time once again to get deep with influential musicians from all across the musical landscape to really understand and translate the lessons of success, failure, inspiration, and hard work that are behind the music and the artists that we love. My guests this season include Rachel Price from Lake Street Dives, Sam Bush, Chris Wood, Chris Funk from The Decemberists, Lindsay Liu, MC Taylor from His Golden Messenger, and more. Check us out, and thanks for listening.
We're so excited to tell you a bit about today's sponsor, Music Masters Collective. They are a nonprofit organization that produces unique music events, providing opportunities for fans and artists to meet and collaborate in an inspired and creative atmosphere.
Music Masters Collective events give you the opportunity to learn from world-class musicians like Otil Burbridge, Steve Earle, Richard Thompson, former members of the band, the Milk Carton Kids, Nikki Glaspie, the Fab Four, and Sean Colvin, and so many more.
At an event like the Milk Carton Kids Sad Song Summer Camp happening this July, you can expect immersive classes, evenings of entertainment, excellent food, and a space for a lucky group of folks to learn, co-write, workshop, and perform with like-minded peers, all with the guidance of Kenneth Pattengale, Joey Ryan, and some of their favorite songwriters. This all-inclusive week in the Catskill Mountains of upstate New York is guaranteed to be magical. Scholarships are available and spots are extremely limited, so visit www.sadsongsummercamp.com/simple to learn more. That's www.sadsongsummercamp.com/simple. Check it out.
No simple road. No simple road. No simple road. No simple road.
Hi, my name is Tim Wheaton. I'm the host of the Daddy Unscripted podcast. No, it's not just me talking with dads about being dads, and it's not just for dads, that's for sure. What it is a varied spectrum of inspiring stories and emotional tales from a wide range of guests that come from the world of sports, of music, and even the guy that lives down the street from you. Not that guy, but the other guy. Yeah, that one. I can pretty much guarantee you're going to get something out of every episode. So come check out the Daddy Unscripted podcast.
When did you get a middle ear?
I don't
We
know.
all have the middle ear.
I can't even hear Ryder.
Parents
What a
not tell you
blessing.
about
got it in the
Middle
I know,
East.
isn't it nice?
Didn't your parents tell you about the middle ear?
No. Is it like the birds and bees?
It's a little bit like the birds and bees, but with listening instead of sex.
Okay. Hi.
There is a little bit of a reverb. Do you notice the echo reverb?
Echo?
Echo.
Reverb?
That's
Echo,
just
echo.
that's just your track. We
Yeah.
put that on.
Oh,
We just
what
put that
the
special
fuck?
for you,
It's
Jake.
actually just your voice.
What?
Your
What?
voice always does that.
What do you mean?
Totally. Hey, everybody. How's it going out there? Welcome back. What are you guys doing? Tell us right now. We'll be quiet.
We'll wait.
Go.
That's cool.
Wait,
That's
what?
really
Really?
cool, guys.
Oh.
I'm really proud of you.
Where did you get that? Really?
Wow.
Okay. Right on. Well, I'm glad you guys are doing good.
Stellar.
We this week on Heads Talking, we have special guests. The Weaver clan.
Breaking gin.
Break and Jen are back.
Yay, happy to be back.
I'm a part of the clan.
Yeah, you're definitely part of the clan.
Yeah,
Dude,
Jake.
no, I love all
Different,
people.
different clan, different
Dude,
clan.
what?
We're part of each other's clans.
We're
come
sitting
together.
6 feet apart
We're
in our
one
house.
clan.
We're,
No,
we're socially
We're
distanced.
close to 6
Dude, I'm
feet.
licking Bryn's face right now.
Well, you live together. You're allowed to lick Bryn's face.
Excuse me, sir. 2 furlongs.
spitting all
3
over the
hectares.
You're only allowed to lick faces for 3 seconds at a time.
Oh God. Anyway, yeah. So I hope everybody's doing good this week, and that your hands are clean, and your mind is clean or dirty, whichever one you want, and you're feeling good, and you've had good music this week, and good food, and time with your friends and family, and you're enjoying the nice long Memorial Day weekend, and having a nice relaxing time.
Speaking of good food and Memorial Day weekend, we bought a smoker.
Yes.
Yeah, the little dude, he sits out on the porch and he has a pipe and he just
You're
smokes.
like, make some brisket.
He's like, all right, guys, here I go.
So
Stop,
he's got
dude,
a
this is-
gravelly voice.
He does?
Yeah, well, that is an eventful thing today. That we have been on the fence for a while about getting a new barbecue. We went over to friends last night that had a really
Thanks, Cody.
well-priced one. Me and Aaron ordered it and went picked it up this morning, and we have it out front, smoking, seasoning it, getting it all ready to cook on.
We're going to make pizza
We are going to end up making pizza on it because somebody told us that, and that's what I want to throw out
and
too.
green beans.
I know a lot of people out there. I know Nate.
Yes,
certain
send us
people
your recipes.
will have ideas and suggestions for us of things to do with our smoker. So please do that.
Yeah. So anyway, we haven't really talked much to Jake and Brynn on the show lately, and we miss you guys.
Could be COVID.
Thank
I don't
It
know.
could be.
Yeah,
And
could
so
be. We're happy to be back.
So
Yeah.
I know how you guys are doing, but why don't you tell everybody
We're
out
doing
there how
great.
you've been doing through the quarantine?
Wait, we're in quarantine. Oh fuck!
Everybody else is.
I
You're
was
not.
trying to figure out what this whole mask thing was about. I was like, is it a fashion thing? It's
Yes.
like 2020.
Why is there no traffic?
It's the new
Dude,
look.
why is the air so clean?
No,
Look,
seriously. How have you guys been doing?
we've been doing great. We're fine. Like we're self-sufficient in the sense that we have our own businesses. We're not employed by anyone, so we're doing fairly well in that sense. And it's been easier. Our lives have been easier. Our
Really?
yeah.
I think, okay, you're in the minority. Tell me how it's been easier.
We're in the minority for sure.
Our kids are at home and they are doing homeschooling and they're very manageable. We live near a park, so it's like they have a lot of freedom. The place to go out and
What? What were you going to say?
Marginal
Brynn's like,
the
"Nah."
park's actually closed. There hasn't really been a
whatever.
lot of parking, but
Is it the one right across from your house,
the
right?
air
Right
is
in your
super
front yard.
clean.
Okay.
Portland, the dirty secret of Portland, people will tell you this, is that the air quality is terrible. Air quality is terrible here. Sometimes
I
it's
never noticed
worse than LA. And it's because
Hi, guys.
No, it's because-
Are you sure about
beg
that?
to
I've talked to
differ.
professional people that are in this whole world, and supposedly there's been grants to do all this research, but then it gets blocked because of the industrial sector, the way Portland is laid out.
Oh, yeah, I heard
The
this. yeah.
main highway, I-5, it goes right through the middle of town in the middle of a bowl. So you have essentially a 4-lane highway going in different directions. All the cars, all this heavy traffic going down the West Coast, up and down the West Coast is just spewing in this bowl. So we do have a lot of airflow. However, that does get trapped. And then in North Portland, We have the industrial.
It's NoPo, all right, dude.
NoPo, bro. Up in NoPo with incredible people and really cool people. But that's where, when they designed Portland, they decided to put the industrial sector in North Portland, which is not very far from anything else. So when the wind blows a certain way, all those particulates.
Yeah, but back when they put that there, it was like
Dude, they were floating logs down the river.
And a, like, what do they call it? A mercantile.
Yeah.
That was what was between us and them right now. So, you know, you can't fault them.
Exactly.
No.
2020, you know, multiple years later, it's a big thing about Portland is we have terrible, terrible air quality. And because of this COVID thing, the air quality's been so much better. It's so much
Better
more
everywhere.
noticeable.
Yeah, it's
better everywhere.
Mama got a
So
break.
you're-
So
yeah.
for us, it's been okay. That's my 2
Okay,
cents.
Brynn.
Oh, I was gonna. Well, just
About
related
the
to
park.
the air quality thing, real quick. There is a website you can look up, and it has, you know, like dark red, orange, yellow, and it does show that whole highway strip, which is like where most of our houses still fall along, and it tells you how many particulates or whatever. So it's not like super secret.
What
I
is the
would
name
say,
of this website? 'Cause
I
I'm
don't
interested.
remember.
You can
Dude,
go on
look
a
it
up later.
It's the
I don't
same
know.
place I go
Oh,
for
okay.
like the allergy index, mold index,
There's
all that. They give you
times-
all that
Yeah,
stuff.
maybe.
There's times where Portland's air has been worse than Beijing, China. They talk about that.
Nobody
And we're-
would nobody
you.
would think that.
It's
I believe
true.
you, but
It's
it
true.
doesn't seem right in my head.
Because we're so ecologically minded, we're conscious. There's so many cool, green-oriented people. However, our air quality sucks, dude, and
I don't
that's
think it's constant.
terrible.
It's not like you're in a
Yeah.
black fog all the time. It's,
Yeah.
But it.
Well, I would
You
think
said it
too,
depends
like
which way the wind is
being up here,
blowing
like with
or-
it being so rainy and stuff too. I mean, that knocks a
soon as
lot
the
of the
rain
stuff
comes
out of
in,
the
yeah.
air and pulls
Right.
it down, and you know,
Dude, the only
puts it in
time
the water.
the only time
Yay.
I love water. The only time I've ever choked on air in my life where I was like gagging was in Portland, Oregon, in North Portland. I couldn't breathe. The air was coming straight from the industrial area. I could taste the dump and just you could taste the particulates.
That's
I had
delicious.
to go into a grocery store and chill out for like a half hour, and because I was like literally gagging on the air. Only time it's ever happened in my life.
This hippie
Portland,
with dreadlocks
Oregon.
just came running in the front door gagging, and now he's hanging out in the frozen food aisle,
Right.
breathing
Yeah,
in the
this
freezer.
This is when my hair was just long before it kind of started.
That was the pre. Yeah.
Brynn,
Home has it's. I feel super fortunate to be in the position that I'm at, that I can stay home with my kids, that we have a beautiful garden to work in, that we're, you know, in our chill neighborhood. It's been, there's, you know, madness on the outside, and there's been a lot of sweetness on the inside. So that's
I
been,
think that's the truth for a lot of people.
yeah, and I know it's not that way for everybody. I know people, there's hard times at home, or there's, you know, people who
Financial
are working more than
stresses.
ever. There's all those things. So definitely
And we
feeling
caught up
super
on-
blessed and thankful every day. That
Yeah, and we
we're
caught
like,
up on a lot of the stuff that we've been putting off, which like freed up so much energy.
Like what? Like
Well,
what
you're
kind
just
of
like,
stuff?
I gotta fix the shed. I gotta fucking clean this shit out. I gotta go organize the garage. I gotta clean the attic. You know, shit. You're like, you put on a list. You're like, you know, 6 months later, you're like, oh, I still gotta fucking do.
Did you
it.
clean your
We'll do that
attic?
next
someday.
summer. We'll do that next summer.
You know,
Did you
there's
clean your attic?
stages. We're working on. That's the final. The attic is actually the final stage. But
That's
we
like
did-
that's like
It
lift
is.
off.
Yeah,
There's
that's-
like, dude, there was a bunch of
time
different
capsule,
things.
though.
you
Is there
know,
skeletons?
Yeah,
In the
like
attic.
you keep those in the closet.
pruning and you know we're pruning like all these you know landscaping stuff that we just like couldn't get to the deep
Well,
stuff.
stuff for the for my I
Herb.
can't talk. Thank you. Herbs. The herbs for my herbs. Yeah, I've been
Yeah.
able to really expand the garden and get more herbs in, so that I can be ready for all the formulas I'm making this summer. So there's been a lot of like, I'm still working, even though I'm not, you know.
Early on in this, we saw you guys for a few minutes, and you gave me some elderberry, a shot of elderberry
Yeah.
stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I know that people out there are still very concerned about health and what they can do to
Zinc.
what do you do? Boost your immune system. That's the word I'm looking for. So if you're looking to do that, what are some herbs that we can take that will help boost our immune systems and help us stay healthy?
Yeah, well, I'm going to first off say that everybody's really different. So it's impossible to say, like, ginger's for everybody, right? So I'm
Right.
just going to say that because I definitely, that's not the way that I practice.
Nobody
is very
on No Simple
individual.
Road is a licensed professional.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, you better
this is
disclaim
for
the shit
educational
out of that.
purposes only.
Yeah, this is for yeah.
Definitely.
Whatever.
There are some
Better listen to Brynn.
herbs that can support your body's general functions.
So they say.
Yeah, so they say.
Allegedly. Like what?
Well, a ginger. I just said ginger. Things that are pungent, such as ginger, garlic, onions, which are the 3 base ingredients in fire cider, if you've heard of that.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, those are great immunostimulants. And you want to be, really, it's more about taking care of yourself. You don't want to just not, be.
Well, I ate like shit all week,
I ate like
and I
shit,
didn't
but
exercise.
I'm going to take my
Right.
echinacea, and that's going to
Yeah,
be
and I
like,
stay
it's
up till
not,
3 every night.
But, yeah.
We did hear a doctor, sorry to interrupt you, my love, but we did hear a doctor say that the number one thing you can do is take iodine. And I was like, wow.
And vitamin D.
And vitamin D. And zinc is what they're saying. It's like huge.
Yeah, they
Vitamin-
ran out of that real early on.
They
I
did.
saw that.
But vitamin D still super important, iodine important, and zinc important. And then herbs, I feel like the warming pungents with, being the food herbs really, like a lot of nutritive herbs, nettles. You can do...
like nettle tea?
Yeah, nettle
Okay.
tea. Put nettle in your soup. Put nettle in your fire cider recipe.
What's a good shielding herb for like immunodefense? Like
Shielding herb. Well, one of the ones which actually this is kind of important is astragalus. And astragalus has been, it's an old Chinese remedy, and forgive me for not knowing the name of it in that language, but it is something that has been in every immune formula. It's like, oh, this has astragalus, take it. But the thing about astragalus is that it strengthens the cell walls. And so if you take it while you're sick, you actually are trapping the illness inside of you.
Oh.
But I've noticed it in like all the grocery stores and all these formulas. So it's something that it strengthens you. It keeps, like a shielding, like you said, keeps everything out. But if you get sick, you want to stop taking
Yeah,
it.
you don't want to shield a cell
No.
once you're sick.
Yeah.
That's for when you feel good.
Yeah, it's for strengthening your Wei Qi. It's not supposed to be for during
Right.
active times of sickness.
And so when this all started, I started seeing a lot of people posting about fire cider on Instagram. And I had never heard of fire cider prior.
Oh, I'm about
We
to
heard-
press some, so I'll
I
bring
was gonna
it
say
to
we heard
you.
it. We heard
I
of
have no
it
idea what
one
this is.
last year at Summer Meltdown is the first time I heard of it when
Okay,
you
when I
were
had it at the
selling it in the
booth,
booth.
yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
I
her
didn't-
fire cider was so
Yeah.
good.
So what is it? What
So
is the
good.
deal with it?
So fire cider, which is really interesting because they just went through a whole legal battle because one company tried to claim that fire cider was
Like a
their
trademark.
registered trademark, and so a bunch of herbalists basically had to go to court and say, no, this is a family recipe that's been passed down for generations. It's not something that can be. It's a general term. It's not something that can be coined.
It's like sourdough bread.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but they
Well,
had
I
to.
do own
Or like
sourdough
peanut
bread.
butter. It's like, come on, dude.
Yeah. Peanut butter.
But they did have to fight for it for sure, for it to be so. Yay, free fire cider.
Yay.
Yeah.
But basically, yeah, you take apple cider vinegar and you get your onions, garlic, ginger. I always put horseradish. A lot of people put in hot peppers.
Jesus Christ.
And then
Fire
other
deed.
nutritives like nettles, hawthorn berries. Really, you could put any herb that you really love that's a general tonic and
Right.
put it in there. You could put elderberries in there. You could put oat straw in there. You could really...
Does it like boost your white blood cell count, or what does it do to?
heats up your digestive fire and it...
Your agony.
Yes, exactly, which helps you process everything. It sends blood to your capillaries, to the surface of your body. It does so many different things. And just think of all those things. Garlic has amazing
Yeah.
immune,
garlic.
antimicrobial, antiviral properties. Onions do as well. A lot of these are just our old home remedy herbs that people have been using forever.
But why COVID and fire cider? What's the correlation that what do you think the
is.
commonality that people were putting together that was making people go to that?
I think morely because that's a general immune tonic that people take during cold and flu season.
okay,
I don't
I
think
get
it
it.
was specific to COVID.
Okay.
And I think you still have to be careful because that will heat you up. If you're already a hot and dry person, if you have a hot, dry cough, if you have those kinds of things, if you're taking 5 shots of fire cider every day and you're already hot and dry,
Does that shit light you up?
yeah, Yeah.
Yes, it lights
it's
you up.
great.
I tried one little bit of it when she was telling me what it was, so I'd know when helping him work the booth
But I hope, yeah.
what to say about it. But I always have, I'm one of those that has heartburn to pepper. And then like I took a little time, it was like,
Yeah,
it was
so-
like taking a shot of like some like Fireball whiskey times 50 or
So
something.
if it, yeah.
Ooh, I felt flush
If
and
it
like
gives
like
you
ooh.
heartburn, then you shouldn't drink it every day for sure. But
Well-
it also like helps you sweat, you know, so you're sweating out toxins.
Toxins.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
What if you don't need help sweating?
Then don't
Well,
take
that's what
it,
she said.
Ryder.
I
But
am.
all this
Then
other
I would
stuff.
suggest some lemon balm tea.
Okay, I was gonna say, but all this other stuff sounds great. I run hot and I don't need help sweating.
What
That's
she
the
said,
only
hot
thing.
and dry. Like that, I am always have a beverage, no matter where I'm at home, at work. I'm always drinking because I'm a dry person.
It kind of
Yeah,
tastes
yeah.
like somebody took like 6,000 really good sandwiches and just like put it in a fucking condensed, really
And
solid form.
Jake,
you take
all
a
sounds
shot, and you're like, oh
amazing.
my
okay,
god,
so
it's
here,
fucking
can you
like a
eat
sandwich.
6,000 sandwiches though?
I mean,
No.
not. I mean, that's
not,
why
like,
you
in
juice
one
it,
shot.
right?
Well, I think
Jeremy,
that's. I mean,
you
that's
put
the
it
whole
in the
thing. It's a
juicer?
way of preserving it.
Yeah,
it's
no.
a way of
You get- it's so
getting
nutritive.
that concentrated amount in a little shot.
I
So-
think it's really cool that like because we have no cure for this thing that's going on. One of the really cool things that I've seen is a return to natural remedies because of this. People are doing a lot more research
Yeah.
and finding alternative ways to keep themselves healthy and to
It's the plants. They're
it's
calling us
they
back.
really that when this all started, I remember all the stuff about there's an awakening happening and consciousness is rising and people have slowed down, the hive is slower and vibration has slowed and blah blah, all that was happening. And I was like, okay, I'm what do they say, hopefully optimistic. I was hopefully optimistic but skeptical, like, are we just trying to make lemonade out of the fucking bullshit lemons that we've been given? But I started seeing stuff like that. I started seeing all the musicians coming out and doing their thing on the internet. I started seeing people supporting each other. I started seeing all this community stuff happen, coalescing through it. And that's been really fucking cool to see how everybody's come together, and then the return to nature that I at least through my lens I've seen.
That's what's real is nature. I think that's what you need to turn to whenever you feel anxious, whenever you feel unsure of what's going on, whenever you feel paranoid, whenever you feel like you're going to get sick, like go fucking sit with a tree and like be with nature. I think that's the absolute most important medicine that there could possibly be right now.
Okay, great.
That's it.
You say that, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, I know a lot of people understand the words that you're saying, but what does that mean? Break that down. What does that mean? Because there's people that don't know how to do that. What does that look like? Like, would I just go sit next to the tree and like stare at it? Like,
Well, a lot of
No,
places
it's
you
all,
can't right now.
You know, there's an amazing author, Stephen Herod Buhner. He has several books that talk all about this. It's all about heart perception. So you're changing your thinking from your brain to your heart. And I mean, he goes into crazy science and all kinds of stuff about how your heart is actually your first, that's what's fielding everything, and then it sends it back to your brain. But in our societies, we're not taught that way. You're not taught in school. You're like, look at this, listen, you know, your five senses, all that stuff. You're not taught to actually see with your heart, feel with your heart. So it's all about, but that's the time that nature works on. That's the time that the earth is breathing on. So you have to slow down. You have to turn your mind off. I mean, it's a meditation really, but it's sitting down and it's recognizing that you're sitting next to a living being, a sentient being that has infinite more wisdom than, you know, I mean, every nettle plant, every oak tree, every piece of ivy has all the wisdom of every ivy that's ever lived. And it's all encapsulated in that DNA. So you can sit with that and you really
start
just
to
have to slow
resonate.
down.
You
And
start to resonate with that
and it's
frequency.
Exactly. And so you're sitting there and pretty soon your gaze will start, your breathing will slow, your gaze will slow, and things will get kind of fuzzy, and you'll find yourself breathing with that plant, and you'll find and plants don't speak in words. It's not going to be suddenly. Maybe for some people it is like, hey, you really think you've been too anxious about this thing. You should really chill out, or blah. It's more like suddenly a song will come to you, a smell will come to you, a memory will come to you, and it's really fascinating that plants use what's already in your internal file, and they're like, this means something to you. So I'm going to pull this out.
So they're pulling from your experience.
Yes.
They're going through your hard drive and looking for correlation and then spitting that information out.
And then speaking that to you. And then it's up to you to then digest that and piece it together, and also just be and not be looking for it like, oh, what's the oak tree going to say to me? It's just like, I'm just going to be here. And maybe nothing. Yeah. And maybe nothing will happen. And that's a healing in itself. Just sitting there and slowing down and being in plant time. And it's called the dream time according to Stephen Buhner. It's beautiful. Highly recommended reading.
Yeah, and you can think about the times, when you're hanging out really, really high on psychedelics and there's plants in the room and you feel it. Like I don't know if I'm sure there's listeners out there that may have experienced this.
For educational purposes only.
Yeah. Allegedly.
But you feel there's like, holy shit, that's like a cat, and it's like a house plant, it's like a being. It's there. It's like, oh, it grows towards the sun, it's like moving, in a certain way, like it's alive. And then you're like, oh my God, you're like in your house. You're like, holy shit, there's all these little creatures all around. And, and I was a cannabis grower for a long time, and being around cannabis plants when you're high on psychedelics, it's like, holy shit, that's like a whole other thing,
Those are like alien entities.
Well, it's just you feel the cannabis frequency, like you feel the plant, like it's very responsive
about
to energies.
That's what makes it the cannabis thing. Jake knows, and learning that over the last 4 years, I used to think there was no different. Like, oh, weed's weed. You like when you get weed from garden, you can tell what gardens were like real intention.
You can pick up
love
the
is going.
vibe of the grower.
Yeah, the vibe of the grower,
everything.
the vibe of the
soil,
pie,
the nutrients,
everything.
the place.
So, do you know about the Dogon tribe?
Yes.
You know what their trip is with cannabis?
They think it was brought by Pleiadians, right?
Right. And so they
serious
the dog
they knew
star.
Seriously.
The Dogon tribe, for those of you out there that don't know, are an indigenous tribe in Africa, and they in the 70s, researchers went and met with them, and they have an oral tradition, and they've passed their history down orally. And from as far back as they have oral record, they talked about the star Sirius, but they also talked about a sister star with it, Sirius B. And we couldn't see that. At that time, our telescopes could barely see Sirius. And since then, we have discovered that there is indeed another star there with Sirius called Sirius B, that they were correct. They knew the size of the planet, and they knew how far away from the other body that it was. And the way that they received that information, I believe they call them the Nomo, came from Sirius and gave them their information, and also brought them cannabis
and some weed. They're like, guys, you're gonna love this shit.
This shit is awesome.
You're gonna
But they brought them the cannabis plants, and that's why it's called cannabis. Canna means dog, and bi is two, so it's the two dog star. Sirius is the dog star, and that's why it's cannabis. So
They also
education.
told them about like the other planets in the solar system, like Neptune. She can't see with
Oh,
the
yeah,
naked
I
eye.
do know
All
that
kinds of
story.
stuff. It's super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Check out the Dogon people.
It's just
rad.
it's all a coincidence. It's a bunch of bullshit.
You
But
know,
anyway,
do you know what Rastafarians believe about weed? And they believe that
it is the healing of the nations.
well,
Mom.
but it came from King Solomon. They found the first
his marbles.
weed plant. Well, King Solomon, it's like they have their kind of like Jesus type figure, which is Haile Selassie, right? But then they have their kind of like other kind of archetypal religious figures in their religion. One of them being King Solomon. He's like a big figure, in Rastafarianism. And they say that the first weed plants were found on the grave of King Solomon.
Really?
That's their what they believe.
And in the magical tradition, King Solomon was one of the greatest magicians that ever lived. And
he's a badass motherfucker,
yeah,
actually.
So who knows, man?
Dude, he had the songs. He wrote like 1,000 songs. He had the chicks. Like he had everything.
Good weed. He was
Well,
the
dude,
coolest
like,
heady
dude,
cat,
man.
man.
Well, he got, if you read any of the
turn
Bible,
sugar
like,
into cocaine.
it's crazy. He got
He was
the
cool with
very
the stoners, the geeks, the dweebies, the
Dude,
jocks.
He was a bad motherfucker.
Oh man! If you guys have never heard of King Missile, go
Oh,
listen
yeah,
to
no,
King
no,
Missile,
King
man.
Missile.
That's where I got that from. But yeah. So all that being said, like, so I am anxious, and I go and I sit with the tree, and I get my speech from the tree. For me, I get what you mean. Like, I've done that. I've experienced what Jake's talking about with my house plants on psychedelics and all that. But I think the thing is remembering that when you're not in psychedelic space or high, to bring that back to the matrix with you, that is happening outside the matrix. You know, that's the tough thing.
It is, and I think that's part of doing it, trying to make a daily practice of it. And when you're not on psychedelics, or when it's not a special time, or just even with your houseplants, like
I cry every time I eat a salad now. It's
I've seen that. It's sad.
I'm sorry.
Jake, man. It's too much. I can't even go to dinner.
I can
with
hear
you
the
anymore.
cries.
Well, you know about The Secret Life of
Gave my
Plants,
life.
right? You know about The Secret Life of Plants, that documentary they did in the 70s. They wrote a book.
Is it like The Secret Life of Dogs?
No, that's pets.
They
right?
did a lot of
Sorry.
experiments where they hooked like EKG machines to plants, and like the doctors would come in with like a head of lettuce, and they'd have all these other heads of lettuce hooked up to EKG machine. They'd come in, the fucking doctor would be like, chop a head of lettuce in half. Fucking EKG meters like going off the charts.
Whoa.
The dude would leave the room. They'd fucking calm down. The guy would come back into the room. And fucking the EKG charts go
just from the perpetrator coming back to the scene of the crime.
just
Afraid
come
that they might be
Yeah.
the next.
Yeah.
I was making a joke about The Secret Life of Pets, but that does sound like Sausage Party.
What?
The movie Sausage Party?
I
You
missed
remember?
that one. I missed that
Remember
one.
the movie?
Where the
I
food is
remember.
alive?
Yeah.
And they get
Okay.
freaked out every time when they finally
Well,
realize
they were
that
all
the-
lied to and thought they were going to the great gig in the sky or whatever.
I'm
Yeah.
sure the plants thought something nice was going to happen to them
See,
too.
I always thought that was Sesame Street. Remember the food in the fridge that would talk?
But
Oh,
And I
yes.
was always like, fuck, what if my food's
great,
doing that?
great
I
thing.
want my
Secret
food
Life
to
of
do
Plants.
that.
So-
I can't eat those grapes. Like, they have a personality.
So Woody, you know what, man? We watched Fantastic Fungi.
okay.
Have you seen it?
I have not.
You guys gotta
I
watch
would
it.
like
It's
to watch
worth
that. Definitely.
it. If you guys out there haven't seen it, it's a Paul Stamets movie
Oh,
that
okay.
is
Is that who that is?
freaking
Okay.
amazing, and you want to watch it on a really nice TV. Jake, you would appreciate that.
All
part.
right. Yeah.
But what they're talking about is they have figured out that trees and plants. How do I?
Talking about the mycelial network.
They're
between
using
them?
they're using the mycelium of the mushrooms to communicate, and
Yeah.
so
It's a brain.
if
It's a-
one tree has children, it knows its children and will shuttle nutrients to that baby. And if one of the plants gets attacked by pests, they will do stuff to make the pests go away from that one plant using the mycelium.
Yeah.
Do you guys know about plant albinism? Albinism?
No.
So when a plant it is, I guess, not born, but grows and is albino, it doesn't have chlorophyll.
Right.
So it can't create sugars and live. So it will actually steal nutrients from the plants around it. But instead of just like being parasitic, it supplies those plants with like immune system defenses.
So they're trading.
Yeah.
It's a
Trade-off.
barter
Right.
system. It's a plant
Are you
barter
talking
system.
about plants that always are like ghost pipe, or like ones that just
Ghost
randomly.
Yeah, ghost pipe.
Ghost
That's a-
pipe.
that's a good-
That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
But no,
It's the
randomly.
new strain. Define. Premium cannabis.
Ghost pipe.
Coming to you live.
But no, plants that just
happen to
happen to
okay.
be albino.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really cool.
And that, you know, what this tells us all is like, I mean, just that alone, like, we have no fucking clue
What's
what the
going
Earth is
on.
up to and
No
how.
clue. And that's why people think they know
she's
everything.
a living
It's
being.
so funny.
She's so much more massive. I feel like our entire, when I hear like, oh, we're a virus on the planet, it's like, no,
Oh,
we're just
God,
like
dude.
a scabbed elbow. Like
I hate people.
I
Look.
just
I hate people.
I hate people that say
Wait,
we're.
you're
I don't hate people, but it makes me very angry when people say, "Oh, humans," especially hear the shit, and even the conscious hippie psychedelic world, like, "Oh, humans are a virus, dude. We're a virus."
We're an extension of the
Dude.
life of the planet.
Dude, we're not a virus. That's an anti-human agenda. That's
It is.
anti-human.
It's
We're
definitely.
pro-human here on No Simple Road and Talking Heads. We're pro-human. I'm going to
Pro-people.
speak for these guys.
Well,
and say
I
we're
got to say,
pro-human.
I've been
I
guilty
agree.
of saying that in the past to some people, but of like we're parasite. Like whenever Mother Nature, the planet's done with us, just like a dog.
Well,
shake
it does that
off.
with the body. Does that with a cell,
Yeah.
and the cell is not parasitic. When the body is done with the cell, it sheds it out
Yeah.
through the
There's
excretory
the-
system.
Yeah, that's the microcosm and the macrocosm. It's like you can take it all the way down, you can expand it all the way out. It's
We're just part of a
but-
growth process
but
right now.
we have no idea, and I feel like when we try to like fix our problems, it's always coming with just that same like, oh well, we did it this way, we got to fix it. It's like we're fixing it with the same knowledge we have that we made the problem with.
We
have
always
no
think we know
idea.
everything.
Yeah, we're
We
trying to
all,
write like an instruction manual, and
for-
there you
For
can't.
Gaia, who is like so immense, and,
Beyond
like,
anything we can imagine.
beyond,
Yeah.
way beyond.
That's the message I got at the Gorge last year at Dead and Company during Drums in Space. That exact thing
I
that you're
remember you
talking about
saying
right
that.
now. Like, Mom was like, "Look, you're worried about causes and things and all.
It's all human.
You are tripping, my friend. I am so much bigger than you can even fathom. Your tiny little brain, even expanded on psychedelics, can't even glimpse a fucking grain of sand of how huge and intense I am. And I have this shit under control, and don't worry about it, man.
That gives me
Just relax.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a good thing. I had a similar experience at a very special place in California in southern Humboldt County called Black Sands Beach, which is right near a town called Shelter Cove, which is the absolute westernmost point in the continental U.S. Beautiful beach, very special, sacred place. And I got super spun there one day and with some friends. And I got that same message, man. It's just like the earth is just like, wow. And with that, it's like, wow, you got to be in synthesis with it. 'Cause it's like, dude,
It's
like,
so hard though, being a person, and like this whole COVID thing really like it brought into focus the ways that I'm comfortable with being a shitty person. You know what I mean? Like, and I've had to like
No, I
really
don't.
check. No, for real.
I don't know what you mean.
Like check myself on like the things that I like, and either let that shit go or be okay with not being okay and being out of sync with shit. And it's in really stark contrast nowadays, like wasteful ways and like creating trash. And because when you're home, you're creating a lot more waste in the house. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot more stuff going on at home. And just even going to Home Depot today, people are buying and buying and buying because they're stuck at home, so they're hooking up their living space in ways that they wouldn't. Like Jake was saying, I got to
Right,
organize the shed, whatever.
Oh, yeah, there's been a collective purge, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Everybody's. This is like the biggest spring cleaning in the history of
The world.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Because we've never had so much shit until now. So, yeah.
What do we do? What's next, man? What?
Oh, just more amazing growth. Look, this is the beginning of something
Thank you,
so
Jake.
fantastic and amazing.
Let's
This
hear
is
it.
just
Tell me all
showing-
about it. Tell me a story.
Well, look, like I've often
Upon a
told
time.
people, and my friend recently reminded me that I used to talk about this, about how if we could all sync up and have, one goal and one purpose, but really getting everybody to think about the same thing at the same time globally. And they focus on one point. Well, we proved with COVID that this is possible.
How so?
Well, we got the entire planet to think about, except for, so there's probably like some tribe and some deep in the jungle.
The
that
majority of the
didn't
planet.
get the
Let's go.
fucking
Let's say
info.
that.
Okay. But everybody else, we,
No caffeine.
Okay, no, I'm calling this out. That was a good catch.
okay, I almost knocked over my drink, but
That was
okay,
a really
I
good
didn't do it. I
catch.
caught it. But here's the thing. So we got everybody to think about COVID at the same time. Everybody's thinking about, this thing that's affecting us. But now we can do that again later with something way better. Let's get everybody to think about how awesome we could make the earth be. Let's think about how great it would be if we all focused on making this place the best place it could possibly be. It's like if we get the energy, that psychic mental energy, get to focus on one point, that's when things start happening. So that's something we've proved from this experience, that is possible.
I didn't even think about this. Probably is the first time in history that
Entire
everyone
world
across
is
the
focused.
planet's been focused on one thing.
Yeah, because information didn't spread instantly like it did. Like you'd find out like months later, you're like on a boat and shit. Fucking like, oh my God, what?
Yeah.
You're like
There
some
was a
scroll.
pandemic in California.
Yeah, like some bird flies by, drops a scroll. You're like, holy shit, that happened 6 months
Turn
ago?
the boat
Yeah,
around.
turn the boat. Yeah, totally.
We've already been traveling for 3 months.
But so it's all instant. So God, everybody. So now we could use that as a tool. It's possible. Anything's possible. So we have this there to use for the future.
I
as we
think
elevate things.
I think part of it too is like we talk about like creating your own reality and how thoughts create action in
Thoughts
the
are
world,
things.
and they're things, and they have vibration, and they actually have weight, like physical weight.
Yeah.
And that's actually been proven scientifically as thought is a thing. And so we've talked about all that, and then this happens, and we're collective fear. It has been the overarching
Yes.
vibe of this thing. And I'm not saying that haven't been party to that. I have too. This was fucking scary. When this all first started, I was shitting my pants. That first night, I went to the grocery store and there was a line around the fucking grocery store with people with their carts. I shit myself. I was like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. We're all going to die. Is it, But seeing that continue has been hard, because let's stop and take a look at what's really going on.
What is a city without its music?
The legacy of the New York Philharmonic
Is incredible. Nearly 2 centuries of history. That's a lot of music and a lot of stories.
I was sitting on stage for the very first time thinking, I can't quite believe this is happening.
Join me, Jamie Bernstein, as we explore the history of the New York Philharmonic. It's the NY Phil story made in New York, a podcast about a city, its people, and their orchestra. Listen wherever you get podcasts.
There's still food in the grocery stores.
Yep.
We're all home. They're working on fixing this somehow, supposedly. So they
I
say,
don't
whatever.
know.
Yeah. We'll go with that. We're okay. Now, granted, I'm not belittling the people that have lost their lives to this thing. It's fucking horrifying. I have friends and relatives and people that have been affected by this. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about those of us that have made it through, right? Mm-hmm. We're here. So now what? For the rest of my life, am I supposed to operate from a viewpoint of terror every time I go out of the house and see other people?
This isn't permanent.
But that's the agenda that it seems to me that I take that back. I shouldn't say agenda. I don't think it's that thought out. It just seems to be the operating mode of people when I go out. That's the feeling I get from around me empathetically, is that feeling of fear.
Do you guys remember back in the year 2000 when they, programmed people through media that weapons of mass destruction could, bio attack could happen anytime.
Yeah.
Anthrax, the band Anthrax couldn't even tour. And people, no, I'm serious. That's a real thing. And they program people to go to the store and buy duct tape and plastic sheeting.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
Cover your windows. And there was a nationwide shortage of duct tape and plastic sheeting.
sheets.
Growers were really pissed.
But it was yeah. But it was in the early 2000s when things didn't really, or it was like around 2000 when things really didn't move as fast.
We
as
weren't
they
as
do
connected
now.
as we are now.
No.
So
and
it's
they weren't
like,
able to, rapid
people
fire
are
out the
just
fear.
so reactionary. But it also seems like there's other things that people are frustrated about that they're funneling into this whole thing. Whatever they feel about the current political situation or the global world events, or they think that like a global warming, things like that, and they're feeling all this frustration and this lack of whatever they're feeling, the lack of getting things done there. And now there's this new thing, and it just seems like so many people are funneling their energy into this COVID
Well, and
thing
we've
with
also
their fear.
lost
So
our
weird.
outlet, all of us. Those of us that go to live music and utilize that as an adjunct for joy and spiritual growth and connectivity and our release of frustration, fear, anxiety, that's not there. So all that stuff that builds up normally for us that we get released by going to see live music is now being funneled into
but it's also showing us how, sorry to cut you off, but it's also showing us how whatever we create, how not like unstable it is, but it is fragile in its own way. Like we take a lot of things for granted. Like you know,
I've thought that a lot.
Like
too.
everything, single thing, though, all these systems, how we got to this point, it took a significant amount of work to make it stable for everyday use. Like to be able to work and have these jobs and go to shows, and everybody's got money flowing, and they can have a car. So all these things that we created over hundreds and hundreds of years, like it definitely has its own fragility. So like it's really showing us how sensitive, you know, that human created world is. Like, you know what I mean?
I was just gonna say, like, I have a way that works for me from turning the mentality of putting gloves on and wearing a mask and staying 6 feet away from fear and even like indignation at the situation and anger, is turning it into an act of compassion. Like the information we're getting is conflicting at best, misleading at worst. It's scary, and maybe there's a plot. Maybe it's just people who don't know what's going on.
Maybe nobody's driving the bus.
Nobody's driving the bus, which is honestly the most terrifying option in my head.
I kind of like that more than a
runaway bus.
But
eventually it crashes and then it stops.
If me wearing a mask and putting on gloves and washing my hands and staying 6 feet away from people, if I can save 3 people's lives, I'm going to do it. Period. Hands down, no matter what.
Hands down. I always thought humans were kind of fucking gross anyway. We need to wash our hands more. We need to not cough on each other. We need to be conscious of sneezing when somebody's fucking around. You go, and you fucking cough up half your fucking face on some person you don't even know. Yeah, dude, great. We should all be more conscious. Thank fucking God. Thank fucking God, dude. You gross fucking humans.
Cleaner.
It's true, though. There's so many things. I mean, even just working in childcare and seeing like all the different rules. They're like, you know, you should really have kids wash their hands after they cough. And you should really like some of the regulations are, but I'm like, yeah, I've been doing that all along.
Yeah, that's called common sense.
Yeah, were you guys not making the kids wash their hands?
You shouldn't pick your nose and eat your boogers. Really?
I mean,
guys?
So I hope we all become a little cleaner, but I don't.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I just mean it in the way of like pulling it away from
fear.
Fear and
it's an act of compassion, and that changes the frequency of the act.
Yeah.
And I get it. I totally get it. And like
I have to do it.
Yeah.
Sure. So
And
I have to do it.
If you're required to do it, then it's better to be in a frequency that you agree with.
Yes.
And that is a way to flip the script. And I think that's important right now. And instead of going out and being like, oh my God, when I go out, I might get sick. And if I touch anything and then the germs and then it's too much, man. Look, there's no guarantee ever. You can't, we've never been guaranteed anything. So at this point, it's be safe, be smart, and take care of yourself. Yeah. That's what it comes down to. And take care of each other. Yeah, we are in this together.
And do what you feel like's comfortable. Don't force yourself to do something.
Fear is a huge vehicle for manipulation, though. I mean, that does need to be said. Doesn't mean it's not real. It doesn't mean whatever. But it's still, you need to constantly be checking yourself about, like, what am I really afraid of? What are the actual...
What's the data?
What's not even the data. Because
what are they trying to program me with?
I'm not even like the science is like, who's writing that science? There's a lot of people writing that science that have absolutely no experience in science. They just have weight
like Bill Gates.
Money. Yeah, exactly. Like who fucking?
I have money, therefore I must vaccinate the world. Take my microchip. Take it.
Yeah,
I'm a doctor.
I'm not a scientist. Yeah, no way. So, anyways, just that's something to take stock of. Like, what's the real threat? If you live in a county where there's 2 people that got sick, like how, you know what I mean? Just like you need to feel it out for yourself and for your intuition, not not just like, oh my God, the news said this, because then if you actually sit and you're like, well, what do these numbers say? Like, I don't know what they say. I'm not saying anything.
Let's not go
down.
there.
Exactly. I'm just saying, like, look for yourself. Don't rely on any outside source of information for your fear barometer. Like, that should be something that you are in control of with your own intuition.
Even if you are in like New York or Italy, the places that have been hit really hard, you can, I mean, it sounds, it's harder than just saying, but you can choose to not let this ruin you. Because there are a lot of people that I know that are terrified.
Dude, I think that people have found Daniel Shapiro, who lives in New York City. We talked early on, and I've seen people find their strength through this thing. Like, when you're living in the epicenter of something like this, and there's tens of thousands of people dying in the city that you're in, and it's like a war zone. It's terrifying.
I'm sure.
And continuing your day-to-day with some semblance of normalcy at all takes balls and strength and chutzpah, as we say in Yiddish. And that's a really cool thing that I've seen come out of this, is everybody finding that grit inside to keep moving forward through the terror of a pandemic. I mean, if I told you in January of last year, next year in March, there's going to be a virus that's going to take over the planet and shut the world down, you would shit yourself.
Yeah, it sounds like some sci-fi movie or
You'd be like,
something.
no way. This shit happened. And that part of it about agendas and no agendas and the conspiracy theory part of it and the science part of it, and there's so much that at this point, I think the way that I've started to metabolize this is boiling it down to what's going on inside my own house.
That's all you can really do.
That's all you can do.
That's it, man.
And being your best self, like being your
trying
best,
to be a good person and take
really
care of my fellow
tending
human
that
beings.
part of the mean your garden, that part of the garden you can see.
reach.
I mean, like you guys are doing at home. You're literally, and him and Mel have like outgrowing garden. We're seeing everybody. All the neighbors' yards look spectacular. People are out taking care of their home and making their homes right.
That's all we can do right now.
If 10, 15 years from now they come out with a documentary saying that it was all fake and they did it just to manipulate the country, and all I did was do my best for the people I care about, fuck it. I bought into it. Okay, I took care of people I could.
Yep.
Yeah, and you want to find that opportunity. Think about people often say the character for crisis in Chinese is the same character for opportunity. So you want to find the opportunity in the crisis. Like, this is your time to recalibrate your life and do the fucking thing that you always wanted to do. Stop being a bitch about it. Just like, look, this is your time. The fucking world could end. So you're going to be like, oh, I worked that thing and then I didn't follow my dream, blah, blah, blah. This is your time to step it up. Like, you're getting free money. Fucking, you're getting some checks. Like, shit's flowing. Like, maybe you're getting an unemployment check, dude. Now it's time to do the thing that you've always wanted to do. The thing
And
that you
even
love to do.
taking finances out of it, like
Well,
just mentally.
Yeah.
Now is the time to step up where you knew you could always be. And I think the message that I'm trying to get across is like, look, man, there's a lot going on. None of us sitting at this table know what the fuck is up.
Oh, I know exactly what's happening. I'm not telling you.
None of us know
I'm
shit.
keeping it to myself.
No, there's so many theories.
None of us know anything.
None of us know
And
anything.
it's all guesses and hearsay and he said, she said, and whatever. But at the end of the day, what it boils down to is how I treat myself and how I treat the people around me. That's what I can control. My experience through my lens in my world. That's it, man. That's all of it. And so if I'm going to operate from a place of love, or am I going to operate from a place of fear? And in my experience, when I operate from a place of fear, I fail.
Yeah,
So,
every time.
Every
Absolutely.
time. So I'm choosing to operate from a place of love.
And faith.
And take care of the people that matter in my life and my family and my community. And that's the end of it. And that's as far as my agenda goes or my conspiracy theory. You know what? Okay, there's a conspiracy that's making me be a better me. We don't know, man.
We don't.
We don't
Yeah,
know what
just
the
saying.
future holds.
No.
I'm looking. I personally am looking at a future where next summer I see Fish and Dead and Company and Northwest String Summit.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at
It's gonna
that
be a
future.
busy summer.
It's going to be a busy summer. And
Oh,
you know
dude,
what?
we have a festival. Did we ever
Can't wait.
even talk about that?
You
No, 'cause
never
we were
even-
going to on the
we were
next
gonna announce it,
episode.
and then
Look,
this
dude,
happened.
I'm going to give you the
Aw.
15-second
Do it,
breakdown.
Jake.
Okay, my friends and I, longtime concert promoters, though we haven't much in the last few years, decided to collaborate on a festival in Washington, in Darrington, Washington. And we eventually teamed up with a longtime festival called Earth Dance, global festival, and also being on the West Coast. So we created Earth Dance Re-Evolution, a festival that was taking place over solstice in June, about a month from now, in Darrington, Washington, at the Darrington Bluegrass Music Park, also called the White Horse Mountain Amphitheater. You know, they have a festival, Summer Meltdown takes place there. And
Yeah,
also,
I know the official podcast of that.
Oh yeah,
festival.
I think it's No Simple Road,
Yeah, it
and
might
the
be
Darrington Bluegrass Festival also takes place. Well, we're there. We're in the June festival, so we had a
We
big
have so
festival
much more
set
time to
up.
plan now.
I can't even really tell you who the big headliners were because we got a lot of those guys back for next year. But so we're gonna have a festival this June.
No,
2021.
Next
No,
Next
this
June.
June.
Next
This
June.
June.
The
Not
next
this
one.
June.
June doesn't
Don't
2021.
say that. People will be driving here right now.
2021 reevolutionfestival.com. So we had this festival planned, and we went up. The trippiest part, man, is we went up in March, and there was concerts going on the same day. It was Beats Antique and Humphreys McGee, and they staggered the start times. Humphreys McGee started earlier, so we got to go there. We got our Earth Dance Re-Evolution posters.
Handing them
Handbills.
out at the
We're handing them out the
doors.
flyer.
Yeah.
Getting a bunch of people. If you're listening to this and you were there, that was us. And then we jumped over to Beats Antique, which is, because we had EDM artists, we had jam bands, we had a little bit of everything. That's the thing, is multi-genre. So we're promoting at the Beats Antique show.
Your 15 seconds are up, bro.
I know.
And
Hey,
that was the
time-
festival
Time
part.
is relative.
Okay,
But
sorry.
but we
He's on
interacted
plan time
with
right now.
thousands of people. We interacted with thousands of people in Washington in March, right before this fucking whole COVID thing happened. The
It
festivals,
was like March 1st.
yeah,
It was
the
that last
festival
week
is happening in the
February,
county where they had an insane amount of COVID cases, and so we had to shut the whole thing down for this year. But hey, it's $99 for 4 days with camping. We're going to be back next year, and it's going to be amazing. I can't tell you exactly who's going to be there, but let me tell you,
But we're going to be
But
there.
boy,
let me
tell you what I can't tell you.
And that's what
it's going to be.
Boy, howdy.
one thing we keep on talking about, and on interviews and everything, is the energy that's being built up in all of us for when this does return.
That's what I mean. That's what started the whole
musicians
thing.
and
It's a battery on
fans,
trickle
everything.
charge.
It is.
It's gonna be
Yes.
insane. These
Yeah, it's gonna
shows
explode.
that come out of this, the love, it's a
you-
rebirth.
Thinking
Do
of
you
the
got-
creativity of all of the artists.
I might
writing
not be able to
songs,
talk.
playing music.
By the end of 2021, I might be mute.
That's what I told. Remember last week I said that to you out front. I was saying I was like, I'm gonna be that dude that you see at the show that's like almost
Screaming.
naked, flinging mud, and just like woo, but like
That was
out of
like
love, not being
yesterday.
mean, but like yes, and like rubbing earth
Might have
on
wet
you.
himself.
Well, have you guys heard about SARS
sure
Fest?
went
You guys know about SARS Fest that happened in Toronto at the same time as the SARS epidemic was going on. It was like the 2000s. So we didn't really feel it so much in USA, but in Canada they had a big issue with it. So once they pulled their people out of quarantine, they sponsored a concert called SARS Fest, and they booked like all these huge acts, the Rolling Stones.
Wait, like the government did?
Yeah, and
Hell
the
yeah,
Canadian
Canada.
government. Yeah, and they 600,000 people showed up. And it was
Dude.
fucking
Yeah.
phenomenal event. SARS Fest. You can search engine it. It's kind of crazy.
Holy
Well,
crap,
guys,
yeah, we need.
That's what we need.
stuff
We
like
need
that.
we need COVID fest.
Well, that's what got me.
21.
Earth Dance Re-Evolution. It's gonna be popping. We're there. We're the first festival, one of the first festivals in June, in Darrington, Washington. And let me tell you, like I said,
evolution.
Get out.
$99 for 4 days with camping, and we're gonna have some serious headliners, and the most beautiful and
It's
comfortable.
all about the mountain.
It is
venue
all
on the
about
West
mountain. That
Coast.
place is beautiful, and drinking
People
that
love the-
glacier water.
People love the gorge, but it doesn't have everything. It has what
This
has
is more
very special.
wild.
This is more
More
wild,
wild.
but then at the same time has a real venue with stone amphitheater.
The river.
It's going to be amazing. Okay, I'm done. My 10 seconds are up. Or whatever.
All right, you guys,
15.
listen. I want you all to think about something. If we all lived in an echo chamber where everything that was said on every show we agreed with, this world would be really boring. So at times there may be controversial viewpoints spoken on No Simple Road. And I just want to say that's what it's all about, is having the conversation and being open enough to have the conversation with love and understanding and hearing opposing viewpoints without losing our shit.
Absolutely.
So,
That's what this
Well, I always thought the heart of psychedelia was being completely fluid and knowing that information can just come to you and you have to be able to integrate and shift on a time. Like nothing is real. Everything is fluid.
But also I'm right.
Anyway. So that being said, I love you guys and I appreciate you
Talk
listening.
to your plants.
Talk to your plants, talk to yourself. Just don't. Well, you can do it out loud. And you know what? If you get weird this week and you're getting kind of stir crazy, take care of yourself. Go sit. Do what Brynn said. Listen to Brynn. Go sit down by a tree somewhere. Chill out. Breathe. Just slow down a little bit. Slow your vibe. Slow your roll.
This is so good for humanity. Like at the same, this is the beginning of something. You notice there's these big shifts. It's because we're at the start of something that's going to blossom into something so amazing.
Remember how the Renaissance came after the plague?
Oh yeah, that's right. I was there. I forgot.
I did.
Yeah,
I did forget about that.
Remember when you
happening.
painted that chapel?
Oh, that's right.
We love you guys. We'll see you next
love
week
you.
with more stuff and things. And take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. Be nice. Smile at a stranger. Wash your hands.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
We love you.
Common sense.
It's not very common.
But it's a burden. Family needs has been deferred, and hell means been the earth, and alchemy can bring the birth, the melody of a newborn. So persistent, so resistant, so insistent, so commitment, so resilient, or haven't you learned it? No simple road. 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 My windshield is shattered as I focus through the spot in the corner that is still intact. The react is both a defense mechanism as well as a fear. We've traveled this road before, so we may think, but it's a tad bit of strange similarities that feed an A equal A complex. The fears of your past do not equal the perplexities of the current road.
Hey listeners, I want to tell you about the April-May 2023 issue of Relics magazine. Features a Dave Matthews Band cover story with additional articles and interviews with The National, Graham Nash, Wayne Shorter, ALO, Ivan Neville, our friend Eric Krasno and Stanton Moore, Marty Stewart, and much more. Check out the latest version of Relics and subscribe now at relics.com/DMB. Thanks, Relics.
Hey, this is Steve Choi, host of the Musicians Guild podcast, part of the Sound Talent Media podcast network. Within the four walls of the Musicians Guild, we'll be discussing the habits, idiosyncrasies, experiences, and general psychology of my friends and peers, all involved with music in various capacities. Listen and subscribe at soundtalentmedia.com.